Okay, in number 17, we're asked to cube the binomial 2u minus v. So let's remember what it fundamentally means to cube something. It means to multiply the thing by itself 3 times. So my first maneuver is going to be to write it out 3 times as a product. Make sure when you write out problems involving u and v that you make your u's and v's distinguishable, because the letters do look similar, and if you're not careful, it'll end up just looking like you have one variable. So to start this problem, what I'm going to do is actually focus on the last two binomials, and I'm going to focus on them first and multiply using the FOIL method. So I'm going to write down the first binomial, not doing anything with it, and now I'm going to multiply the result of having FOILed the last two binomials, and that's going to give me 4u squared minus 4uv plus v squared. Now, to multiply a binomial times a trinomial, I could use the vertical format that I did in the last example, but I could also do something that I've nicknamed the clamshell method, and I'm sure other teachers have used this nickname as well. And what I'm going to do is distribute the 2u through every term of the polynomial like this, and then I'm going to multiply the negative v through every term of the polynomial. Now, I guess you have to have a little bit of an imagination, but if you squint your eyes a little bit and just look back, that green sort of looks like a clamshell, right? Don't you think? Maybe not. Anyway, I'm just trying to make it fun for the kids. Fun, right? So let's start. 2u times 4u squared is 8u cubed. 2u times negative 4uv is negative 8u squared v. 2u times v squared is going to be plus 2uv squared. So we're done with the first distribution, and now I'm going to move over to the negative v and distribute it through. So negative v times 4u squared would be negative 4u squared v. Negative v times negative 4uv would be positive 4uv squared. And then negative v times positive v squared is negative v cubed. Now let's see if we have any like terms. I see one term that ends with u squared v, and that happens again down here, so those are like terms. And then I've got another set which ends in uv squared, and I'll underline those with a different color. So in the end, what it looks like I have here is 8u cubed minus 12u squared v plus 6uv squared minus v cubed. So in doing multiplication like this, a lot of organization is involved, and you have to be neat and have disciplined work habits. If you just throw these little products down on the page, you're not going to really know what you have in the end. So take your time, go nice and slow, and make sure you have some sort of organization about the way in which you do it. Let's go to number 19. In number 19, they're asking us to square a binomial, so I'm just going to start by writing that twice. And as I wrote it, I decided that I wanted to do this one using the vertical format, just to show you that this vertical format can be used really anytime you want. So basically what I'm going to do is distribute the 5x cubed into the 5x cubed, and then the 5x cubed into the negative 1. And then I'm going to move over and I'm going to distribute the negative 1 into the 5x cubed over there, and then the 1 into this negative 1 up there. So let's start. 5x cubed times 5x cubed is 25x to the 6th. And then 5x cubed times negative 1 would be negative 5x cubed. And now we're going to move over here to this negative 1. Negative 1 times 5x cubed is negative 5x cubed. And then negative 1 times negative 1 is plus 1. And notice how I'm keeping all like terms lined up vertically, much like an accountant would. Now let's just add down each row. So we start with 25x to the 6th minus 10x cubed plus 1. Okay, number 21. Multiplying two polynomials together, two trinomials, I think I'm going to set up the vertical format one more time. And I'm actually going to cheat a little bit by writing this one directly under this one and just not having to write them both twice. Okay, so x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times negative 3 is negative 3x squared. Now let's move to the middle. X times x squared is x cubed. X times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. And now I'll move over to the positive 1. 1 times x squared is x squared. 1 times x is x. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. And now we'll just add the columns down, and I end up with x to the fourth plus 2x cubed minus x squared minus 2x plus 3. Okay, let's finish with number 23, which is multiplying a binomial by what looks to me like its conjugate, which we reviewed what that term was on an earlier slide. So to multiply these two binomials together, instead of thinking of FOIL, knowing that the outer and inner terms are going to cancel, I'm merely going to do the first term and the last term. The product of root u times root u is u, and the product positive root v and negative root v is negative v. So initially this problem looks a little intimidating because of all those square roots, but in the end, because it's a conjugate situation, it's actually pretty quick and pretty easy. So in summary, with these 3 slides, I hope you have recalled and reviewed how to add and subtract polynomials, how to distribute a monomial through a polynomial, how to multiply different things like 2 binomials together using FOIL, a binomial times its conjugate using Florida, and how to multiply higher order polynomials using things like the vertical format and the clamshell method.